Some of the objects and artifacts uncovered by archaeologists around the world are genuinely baffling. They're strange the moment they're pulled from the ground, and even after being sent away and studied by experts, they remain a total mystery. It's clear we'll never fully understand our ancestors or the unusual traditions and beliefs they lived by. All of the things you're about to see in this video are hard to believe, but trust us, each one is real and will leave you wordless. So, let's start this list with number 15, the Aldo Brandini Taz. The Aldo Brandini Taz, sometimes called the Silver Caesars, occupy a strange space between mastery and anonymity. These 12 silver-gilt cups were created during the 16th century and represent the absolute peak of Renaissance goldsmith work. Each vessel consists of a bowl, a stem, and a central sculpted figure portraying one of the Roman emperors described by Suetonius in the 12 Caesars. Inside every bowl, 4 detailed reliefs depict scenes from that ruler's life. Subtle stylistic differences suggest more than one artist, possibly separated by years, working toward a shared vision. But what unsettles historians is silence. There is no signature, and no workshop record survives. Ancient objects of this quality usually leave a trail, but these do not. They enter history only through the inventory of Cardinal Ippolito Aldobrandini in 1603, already complete. Whether commissioned by power, obsession, or pure ambition, the Taz reveal everything except their mysterious maker, preserving brilliance without identity. Number 14. Griffin Warrior Gold Signet Rings. Back in 2015, archaeologists found 4 gold signet rings buried inside the grave of a Bronze Age figure now known as the Griffin Warrior. From the moment they surfaced, the rings left experts shocked. Every scene carved into the gold shows microscopic precision, built without magnification, electricity, or powered tools of any kind. Even today, modern jewelers would need advanced optics and machinery to attempt similar work. These pieces were shaped using nothing but steady hands and extraordinary eyesight. The imagery only deepens the mystery. One ring depicts a leaping bull, a familiar symbol tied to Minoan culture. The others focus on female figures, an unexpected choice in what's believed to have been a heavily patriarchal society. That contradiction raises uncomfortable questions about ritual practices, belief systems, and social roles during the period. The rings weren't alone. The tomb also held weapons, mirrors, ivory carvings, and other luxury items. Whoever the Griffin Warrior was, his status clearly followed him into death. These rings weren't simple ornaments. They were deliberate statements of power, identity, and craftsmanship that still refuse to fit neatly into accepted history. Number 13. Neolithic stone masks of the Judean Hills. At first sight, they look unsettling and haunting. And that reaction is modern, not intentional. These stone masks, roughly 9,000 years old, were never meant to frighten. Archaeologists believe they honored the dead. Found in the Judean Hills of Israel, 12 masks survive, each carved with distinct facial features, and those differences matter. They suggest individual people rather than abstract gods. And the creators belong to some of the earliest settled communities, transitioning away from nomadic life. Their world was changing, and ritual followed. Small holes drilled into the sides of the masks hint at use. Strings may have allowed them to be worn during ceremonies. Another possibility feels more intimate. Human hair attached to make the likeness more complete. There is nothing that confirms their exact purpose. What remains clear is intention. These weren't casual carvings. They carried meaning strong enough to justify labor, stone, and memory. The masks don't perform for us. They remember someone else entirely. Number 12. 5 stars rising in the east. armband. Back in the 3rd century, someone stitched a message into cloth that wasn't meant to be casual. And the armband, known as 5 stars rising in the east, was woven from Sichuan brocade and carried words promising good fortune for the Middle Kingdom. It wasn't found in a palace or tomb, but buried in the ruins of Nia in Xinjiang, discovered in 1995, far from the heart of power. That distance makes it more interesting, not less. The 5 stars weren't poetic. They referred to the 5 planets ancient sky watchers followed closely: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Their movement was believed to signal whether heaven approved of what rulers were doing on Earth. Another textile later surfaced with words about subduing southern lands, tying the phrase directly to authority. This wasn't decoration or fashion. It was a message meant to be seen, worn, and believed. What it was used for remains 100% uncertain, and that's the point. Number 11. The Luzira head. The Luzira head offers no story, only presence. It was found near Kampala and dates back about 1,000 years, making it one of the oldest known sculptures from sub-Saharan Africa. Shaped from terracotta, the face shows a beautiful woman with narrow eyes, a small mouth, and careful scarification across her forehead. Her hair falls thick and textured along both sides of her head. A hollow base suggests the figure once stood upright, possibly displayed or used during a ritual. The piece was excavated between 1929 and 1930 by E.J. Wayland, alongside pottery, tools, and iron weapons. Since 1931, it has remained in the British Museum, far from where it was made. No written record explains who she was or why she mattered. Still, the intent feels clear. This wasn't casual decoration. Someone shaped identity, memory, and an authority into clay, expecting it to endure, and it did, outlasting names, stories, and certainty itself. Number 10. Harappa clay and stone tablets. No place reveals its secrets at a glance, and Harappa refuses even after decades of scrutiny. Located in Pakistan, it exists twice over, once as a modest modern village, and again as a sprawling ancient city reduced to fractured stone. At its height, nearly 23,000 people lived there. Much of what survived time did not survive history. During British rule, large portions of the ruins were dismantled, their bricks hauled away to construct the Lahore-Multan Railway, leaving archaeologists to work with what damage allowed. And then, questions multiply faster than answers. The city may have served as a capital of the Indus Valley civilization, though certainty never arrives. Some scholars suspect something even older. Structures on site date back 6,000 years, and the most puzzling things found here are clay and stone tablets etched with symbols resembling early Indus script, but matching none. Every translation attempt fails. If writing, it predates everything nearby. Harappa doesn't explain itself. It waits, incomplete, daring history to guess again. Number 9. The rock herd of Slivven well. You have to look closely at the rock face near Slivven, Bulgaria, before the figures reveal themselves. What emerges is a quiet procession of carved animal heads, weathered but deliberate. Goats, bulls, rams, and a scattering of wilder creatures press outward from stone, forming what researchers call the rock herd. Multiple carving styles suggest more than one hand, possibly separated by time. Dating proves nearly impossible. Rock resists certainty, and no associated artifacts offer help. Heavy erosion implies deep age, but nothing sharper survives. Some scholars see astronomy here, proposing a primitive zodiac encoded through livestock and aquatic forms. Others argue for something more practical, an ancient community recording animals that mattered most to survival. Neither theory satisfies completely. No inscriptions explain the intention. No nearby settlement clarifies authorship. The herd remains anonymous, patient, and unresolved. It doesn't demand interpretation. It simply exists, etched into stone by people who never imagined explanation would someday matter more than memory itself alone forever. Number 8. Gerza meteoritic iron beads. Well, long before iron became common, ancient Egyptians were already wearing it, without ever mining it. These small beads, dating back roughly 5,000 years, were crafted from meteoritic iron that fell from the sky. Instead of smelting ore, artisans flattened fragments of meteorite into thin sheets, rolled them into tubes, and threaded them alongside gold and gemstones. That choice wasn't accidental. Meteoric iron carried symbolic weight, likely viewed as a material linked to the heavens. Working it would have been far more difficult than shaping copper. The metal was brittle, stubborn, and unfamiliar. Yet the craftsmanship shows confidence, not experimentation. Whoever made these beads understood the material well enough to control it. That knowledge appears nearly 2 millennia before the Iron Age officially begins. Even without understanding astronomy, these people recognized rarity and value. The beads don't just represent decoration. They suggest that ancient tech and intuition were far more advanced than timelines usually allow. Number 7. Gilt bronze incense burner of Beckj. The Beckj. Gilt bronze incense is not only a national treasure, but it's also a declaration made in metal. Discovered at a temple site in Buyeo, the 6th century artifact immediately separates itself from anything around it. Rising from a lotus base, the burner supports a mountain-shaped lid crowded with musicians, animals, and mythical figures. Nothing feels random. Every form looks intentional, as if placed with purpose rather than decoration. When used, smoke traveled through concealed channels, turning ritual into movement and atmosphere. What makes the burner even more striking is what it refuses to be. Although it shares surface similarities with Chinese Han incense burners, research confirms it isn't a copy. The piece asserts a distinctly Beckj identity, one shaped by cultural exchange, not imitation. Details like the Wanam instrument hint at Silk Road connections, but the overall design remains unmistakably its own. Its scale reinforces that authority. Nearly 2 feet tall and unexpectedly heavy, this was never a private object. It belonged to ceremony, power, and belief. We still don't know. Now, let's move to number 6. Neo-Assyrian rock crystal vase. This object challenges assumptions before explanations even begin. Carved entirely from a single block of pure rock crystal, the vase achieves a form that seems almost reckless given the material. Crystal fractures easily, resists shaping, and punishes mistakes. Despite that, the vessel exists, smooth, hollowed, and delicately proportioned. Scholars tentatively place it within the Neo-Assyrian period, around 2,600 to 2,800 years ago, based on regional comparisons. And there are no identical examples like it. Its history before 1960 remains undocumented, adding another layer of uncertainty. Symmetry isn't perfect, yet the overall balance feels intentional rather than flawed. Any other material would have been easier to work with. Choosing a crystal suggests status, confidence, and ambition. Whoever commissioned it wasn't settling for practicality. They wanted something singular. Even today, replicating the piece would require advanced tools and patience. This rare vase doesn't announce its purpose. It simply exists. Number 5. The Portland vase. And only a few objects survive 2 millennia with such deceptive calm. The Portland vase looks flawless, but consensus fractures the moment discussion begins. Experts agree only on its material. They say it was a Roman cameo glass of exceptional quality. But beyond that, certainty evaporates. Human figures and a coiled serpent emerge with striking clarity, though no one agrees on who they represent. The base complicates matters further. Added later, it depicts Priam and originates from an unknown source, muddying the interpretation even more. Three theories dominate the debate. One insists the imagery is historical. Another argues that mythology alone. The third blends both, pleasing no one. Popular belief favors a scene showing the marriage of Thetis and Peleus, sea deities tied to legend. Other suggestions drift wildly. Sir Apollo fathering Augustus, Cleopatra with Mark Antony, and even events following Julius Caesar's murder. Without knowing the artist, answers remain speculative. Number 4. The Brienne undelivered letters. Postal delays usually frustrate, but this one rewrote history. Inside a sealed trunk housed in The Hague sat over 2,600 undelivered letters sent between 1689 and 1707. Collected by postal officials Simon de Brienne and Marie Germain, the letters were never opened, preserved by circumstance rather than intention. Recipients couldn't be found or refused to pay postage, which fell on them at the time. The writers came from every layer of society: actors, merchants, peasants, nobles, even spies. One letter hints delicately at pregnancy, scandal, and money without stating anything outright. Their true value lies in language. Written in regional dialects and everyday phrasing, they capture voices rarely recorded. The trunk remained sealed until modern researchers examined it, revealing private worries once considered unimportant. These letters don't document power or some kind of treasure. They document people exactly as they were, mid-sentence, unfinished. Their survival feels accidental, intimate, fragile, and profoundly human across centuries without correction, censorship, editing, intention, or apology. Number 3. The Zagreb mummy and the Libeer Linnaeus. In most cases, the mummy would be the story. Here, it isn't. The Zagreb mummy belonged to an anonymous lady mummified in Egypt and later sold to a Hungarian collector in 1848. Decades passed before anyone examined the linen wrapping her body. What they found changed all, and the fabric bore text written in Etruscan, dating back roughly 2,300 years. Known as the Liber Linnaeus, it remains the longest Etruscan text ever discovered. Sadly, the language itself remains only partially understood. Repeated references to months suggest a ritual calendar, though certainty remains out of reach. Some believe it may be the legendary Etrusca Disciplina, a religious guide referenced by Roman writers. One of the most important ancient texts survived only because it was reused as wrapping for the dead. The woman's identity vanished, and with it, the story. Number 2. The Lichfield Angel. The Lichfield Angel spent centuries buried beneath stone, unseen and untouched. Carved from limestone in the 8th century, the figure stands nearly 8 feet tall. Wings stretched wide but calm, not dramatic. It was uncovered in 2003 during restoration work at Lichfield Cathedral, instantly changing how people understood Anglo-Saxon craftsmanship. The angel holds a scroll, though whatever was written on it has long vanished. Each feather feels slow and deliberate, shaped with care rather than showmanship. This wasn't made to impress crowds. It belonged to quiet places and private belief, likely meant for ritual rather than display. Why it was buried is still unclear. Some believe it was hidden for protection, but some experts point to political or religious change. Whatever the exact reason, burial saved it. Today, people stop without thinking when they see it. The angel doesn't preach or explain. It simply stands, steady and patient, carrying faith forward without asking to be interpreted. Okay, now, let's end this with number 1, Taíno duho. Well, museums rarely feel fair when discussing mystery, but the duho deserves an exception. This carved wooden seat functioned as a ceremonial throne for Taíno leaders when holding court away from permanent settlements. The example housed at the Metropolitan Museum of Art is especially refined, decorated with geometric patterns resembling woven hammocks. Small carved human heads line its sides, believed to represent Zemis, spiritual beings thought to inhabit natural materials. The duho was discovered in the Lucayan archipelago, linking it to Taíno culture in what is now the Turks and Caicos. Wood allows for precise dating, placing its creation between 1413 and 1450, and that certainty only deepens the mystery. While the object's function is understood, the culture behind it remains largely silent, and we know little of their political systems, beliefs, or daily lives. The duho stands as evidence of authority, artistry, and a society history barely remembers, despite shaping islands, rituals, leadership, and memory across generations long before colonial erasure took hold fully. We hope you found this video interesting. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon.